Hey, everybody. Welcome to this virtual chat on workplace wellness. I'm super excited to have Whitney Ayers, right?
Yes. Ayers.
Formerly Gorsinger, as I knew her. Whitney and I go way back. I think I probably met you, 10 years ago at a gym, of course. Imagine that. We've worked out together, taken some of your classes. We even lived by each other for a short time. But I have just admired her from afar and what she's accomplishing in her career. Whitney is the wellness program manager for Garver USA, and just wanted to have her on for a conversation just to kind of maybe share some of the secrets behind their incredible wellness program and maybe give some budget-friendly tips for other employers. So Whitney, thank you for joining me. And why don't you start by just telling us a little bit more about yourself and Garver?
So we met in Columbia, Missouri, where I was working like 3 or 4 part-time jobs, and I finally decided I wanted to do something more with my life. And so I went back to school and got my master's degree in health promotion and education, and um, continued to work those like part-time jobs until I got this job here at Garver. Here we are headquartered in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we are an employee-owned engineering, planning, and environmental services firm. We focus on aviation, transportation, buildings, federal water, wastewater services, all our business lines. Surveying, construction, it's all the engineering, it's civil engineering, and it's a great place to work. Absolutely love it. And so I started off as the wellness coordinator, working under the wellness program manager. And then when the wellness program manager left for a new opportunity, that's when I took over the program. And I've been in this position for about 4 or 5 years now. I don't know. I just hit my 7th year here at Garver,
Oh
so
my gosh,
it all it all feels like it's all run together, but that's because it's just been so much fun and I've just
yeah,
grown so much. So
yeah.
I love it here. It's awesome.
This role just fits you perfectly. It's just
Thank
awesome.
you.
You get to combine your, personal and professional passions into one. So I just think it's really
Yeah.
cool. So first question. So Garver is consistently, recognized as one of the healthiest employers in America, which is so cool. And so obviously you're critical to that. So as the program manager, how do you guys define success and for the wellness initiatives that you oversee? And then what impact has that had on company culture and employee engagement?
Yeah. Well, so defining success for the Garver Wellness program, it just involves several key metrics that focus on 2 different types of outcomes. I'm going to say outcomes are going to be, there's going to be the math outcomes,
Mhm.
whether it's the health outcomes from biometric screenings or participation in the program, decreasing health insurance claims costs. So all of the math, the Excel files, the data that you want to sift
Yeah.
through, that's
Yes.
that's outcome one, bucket one. And then bucket two is going to be outcomes from where we look at our company culture and how that culture is affecting our engagement, our productivity, job satisfaction, retention, recruitment, all of the skills and the data and the things that make up what makes coming to work so fun. So we that is those are both are very important, and they
Yep.
almost, I would say that they're equally important. We care about our people and we genuinely want them to live a healthy lifestyle so that they can live that quality of life that they deserve. And but then we also want them to, enjoy coming to work. And I believe that that's a huge circle. When you can be healthy, you enjoy doing life, and part of life as an adult is going to work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of the main outcomes that you guys have achieved that you guys have been most excited about?
So for the past 2 years, we have had 97% of our employees who elected wellness. When we talk about insurance, we have the wellness insurance premium discount, and then we have
Yep.
non-wellness. Because with wellness programs, it's completely voluntary. You do not have to
Yep.
participate. but we reward our employees by participating in the wellness program with a very large insurance premium discount. And so 97% of our employees earned that discount last year, and they earned it this year. So that tells us that one, people like the discount. It's
Yes.
an incentive. But then
Yep.
two, like they're genuinely taking steps to improve their health. So part of those requirements to earn that discount is to receive a health screening, whether
Okay.
that's from a lab or that's going to see your primary care physician. And we encourage the primary care physician visit because we believe that we want everyone to have a relationship with a doctor, and be under the care of a doctor. And it's so important just to have that 1 year checkup.
Absolutely.
And then, we also reward on top of that our employees if they continue to participate in healthy habits. So whether that's running a 5K or taking time to read a book or going on vacation for 3 days and completely unplugging from work, like don't read your Teams or your emails.
Mhm.
Um, Going to the dentist, the eye doctor, all that preventative care as well, they can earn points to which then they earn dollars at the end of the year. And those dollars are up to $500. And so we paid out in the last 2 years, or I guess last year and this year, each year we paid out over $227,000 in
Oh,
wellness rewards. So
that's
again,
incredible.
people are participating in the program,
Yeah.
and they may think that like I'm just trying to earn cash, but when they do that, in order to earn that cash, they have to participate in healthy activities that are bettering their lives. So we're really pumped about those metrics. We look at those metrics every single day. So, or
That's
every year, not
incredible.
every day. I'm not looking at
Yeah.
that every day, every
Yeah.
day.
Yes. Oh, that is so cool. Garver has how many employees, right?
We have over
4,
so
4,000?
like 1,200. Let's go
1,200.
1,200. Yeah,
Okay.
it changes on a daily basis. Just I joke that like even our offices change on a daily basis. Like I say 50 plus because we could have 51, we could have 52.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
ever growing, and that's
It
awesome.
fluctuates.
Yeah.
Man, so 1,297%. I mean, that's over 1,000 people who qualify for that wellness incentive. That is probably unheard of. I'd love to hear the like national statistics of others who have similar programs, what their success rate is, right? And then
Yeah.
I assume for the 3% who maybe don't need it each year, I'm assuming that you have interventions and programs for them to maybe get them back on track, right?
Yeah, so because it is uh voluntary, there are
Yeah.
going to be some people who just elect non-wellness, and that's totally fine. And then there are going to be those that did not get the requirements done by the deadline.
Right.
Um, and lesson learned. We just say, hey, you didn't earn the discount for next year. It's okay. Like you're still covered by our insurance, and our
Absolutely.
premiums for non-wellness are still really great. It's just that you're going to have to pay that higher premium rate and then work toward earning your discount for the following year during the next plan year. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And those, I imagine those biomarkers that you're looking at in that wellness program, weight, BMI, blood pressure, cholesterol, things of that nature. Is there any of those that like stand out in particular to you that you guys really focus on or?
Um, well, we give points or we require you to show the wellness program 4 metrics. We
Okay.
look at your triglycerides, your A1C or glucose, blood
Okay.
pressure, and your HDL cholesterol.
Yep.
And so those are the 4 that we are looking at, mainly because those are the 4 indicators, if they are elevated, that you may or may not have some form of chronic illness that you should probably take care of with under a physician's care, which is also why we encourage that physician visit once a year. So really hitting hard on those. We used to pay attention to weight
Mhm.
waste. We used to pay attention to waste, and some doctors' offices do waste, some don't. And so we were just like, let's just do away with waste.
Yep.
Um, to be honest, no one needs to be told that they are overweight.
Mhm.
They probably already know that, and their metrics are showing that as well. So we don't need to put shame on a waste metric at this
Right.
point. So we just did, let's just focus on blood and blood pressure and or blood outcomes and then blood pressure and go with that. But they
Yeah,
send that in to us. We upload it to their wellness portal, and then they can track that over time and continue to have those conversations with their doctor.
that's awesome. I mean, I appreciate that because, really, if they're getting all those four metrics on track, their waste is going to fall in line too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, so what maybe are some challenges that you've encountered when trying to engage employees in the wellness initiatives, and what has proven to be most effective in maybe overcoming some of those barriers?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I think number one is participation and going to
Yes.
see your doctor. I
Yep.
know there's a lot of white coat syndrome out there, and people don't want to go see it, or they're like, oh, I'll do it next year. But the reality is that it's just so important to get that preventative screening done once a year. And we have had success stories of I got my A1C checked and it was, well above 5.7, which is the highest we want it to be before you start merging into pre-diabetes. And within, the next year, they lost 100 pounds because they just got their numbers checked. It's the same as like I went and I got a mammogram because you were going to give me points for it, and they found breast cancer. Like these are things that like people I'll do it later. I got things to do, and then they end up finding out that this was a life-saving or changing moment for them, that impacts the rest of their life. And so, uh, I mean, yes, that's a big challenge, but when you tell those stories, you get goosebumps,
Yeah.
and you're like, please just go to the doctor once a year and just get that checked out. And telling those stories, that's what we do to kind of overcome some of those challenges or that pushback is like, hey, did you hear this success story? Like this could be you, like you don't want to put fear in someone, but at the same time, they're tired of me telling them to eat their vegetables and
Mhm.
exercise. Listening to an employee tell their story or a leader especially tell their story is huge.
That's
Um,
impactful. Yeah.
so we've definitely also like had challenges with just, talking about mental health. And we started to change that narrative a few years ago where I was just like, hey, my happiness is paid for at times.
Hmm.
I take medication and I'm proud of it, and that it's okay to do that. It's okay to go to
Yep.
therapy. It's okay to be open about it. And our CHRO did something similar to what we're doing with an in-house podcast where he just discussed a lot of his mental health uh journeys and how he's passionate about it and how he's handled it in different places of work. And so I think that if there's a topic that's uncomfortable to talk about, that is a challenge, but it doesn't have to be. You can normalize it. Um, and lastly, I think the biggest, I will say, I will preface this as we do not have this problem.
Okay.
Um, but I know that I get a lot of questions all the time about like my biggest challenge is that my leadership does not buy into the wellness program. So
Mhm.
therefore, they're not going to give me a budget for wellness to spend money on. Um,
Right.
and the thing is, there's so much data and there's so many podcasts and stories that you can talk about and throw at them, but ultimately they kind of want to see a dollar amount. And trying to get them to understand that wellness programs are not going to be an immediate effect right off the bat. It's going to take a few years. That poses an even bigger challenge because a lot of C-suite people like numbers and they like to
Yes.
talk about money.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so my biggest thing is, if you have access to your health insurance claims, that is going to tell a huge story on how you can, put some numbers in front of them and showcase that, hey, if you give me a little bit of, a little bit of a budget, then I can guarantee that these numbers will change. But you also, as the leader, need to buy into this, and you need to lead from the front because it all trickles down.
Absolutely.
So
It is a top-down approach, right? They
yeah.
have to have that buy-in. Otherwise, it's not going to be as successful.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So that leads into another question. So maybe for some of those smaller, we work with everybody from your mom and pop shop to people, maybe not quite as big as Garver, right? But so maybe for those smaller to mid-sized businesses that don't have that large wellness budget, what are some cost-effective strategies that they could implement to promote health and wellness within their population?
Yeah, so I mean, you don't have to hand over, cash money at the end of the year, like some bigger companies do. It could be something as simple as um, just changing the culture. You could just start with the culture piece of it. So encouraging that physical activity. Maybe it's walking meetings, or maybe you meet after work and you go to the gym together. Or like we were discussing, I think before we started recording, like our in-house gyms, and how, maybe it's a small room, or you keep some dumbbells in the break room and you can go do some jumping jacks and bicep curls in there. You've got some movement done.
Yes.
It also doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be physically active. Like we just discussed, promoting mental health and stress reduction is another great way to change the culture of and promote wellness. Maybe if your job allows it, it's flexible working arrangements.
Mhm.
That's not necessarily going to work if you have someone on an assembly line, but it could be life changing for someone who has to, like you, drop off kiddos in the morning. And so you need to come in a little bit later. And maybe that means that you stay a little bit later, you work through lunch, or, you work once you've put the kids to bed. Like, if there are tasks that can be done that don't require that average like 9 to 5, then I don't, for me at least, like I sometimes I'm most productive at like 6 p.m. on a Friday night. Like
Right. Yes.
so, but I also don't have kiddos. So,
Yes.
that's different. But that's just, or sometimes it's a Sunday morning and I'm like, man, I'm gonna crank out some tasks that when I'm in the work week, you're getting calls, you're getting emails, you're getting pinged. Like, I'm like, this is just some downtime to just like big brain dump thinking type
Yes.
deal. But
Yes.
then if you want to start looking at metrics, you can lean on your insurance broker, if as a business you have one, which I hope you do.
Hope so.
Um,
If not, I know one.
yeah. And depending on the size of your company too, because we do need to be mindful of private health information, but a lot of times they can do some digging and pull up some aggregate data of, healthcare claims costs and maybe your top 3 opportunities as a company. And some insurance companies even have wellness programs built into their program. So you may already be like paying for one, or maybe it's like an extra $5 fee per person or something like that. And then they come in and run your wellness program for you. So there's just so many resources out there that, do some due diligence and some research into like figuring out what you might already have at your fingertips.
Absolutely. You're so right. There are so many free programs that people aren't taking advantage of too, and things that don't have to cost any money.
Mhm.
For a time, we would gather everybody once a week and do a fun little activity. And then at the very end, we had like a workout of the week, and we had teams, and it was like, your team had to accumulate 500 squats throughout the whole week. And, if your team gets these so many points, you got to go do a fun activity. And we didn't have to invest very much into that at all.
Yeah.
Right. And we got a little friendly competition going, and it was fun. And so yeah, absolutely. That doesn't have to be a big full-blown wellness program.
Yeah.
Your piece about the stress reduction, I think, is really important, because I listened to a podcast from the chief wellness officer at the Cleveland Clinic. I feel like you guys would just be like best buds. Um, but obviously, Cleveland Clinic is even a huger organization and it's healthcare, right? So they have more availability and resources at their fingertips. But they've avoided something like millions of dollars in claims from being spent, right, by investing in their health. And I think he mentioned like, the CFO wanted to nix this, but he said, just give it some time, right? Patience. And now I think they're just singing his praises. But, they were asked like, what has been the greatest return on your investment? Like which piece of your wellness program? And he said that the stress reduction program by far change the health outcomes for more people. And I just thought that was really cool, right? It's not just fitness and nutrition. The stress reduction is huge because in this world, this fast-paced environment where we're connected to everybody all day, it can be really easy to just be all consumed with work and be stressed out. And the holidays, this time of year, right? Everybody's got some sort of stress in their life. So
yes, yeah. One of my favorite stats is like from 2020 to 2021, our mental health care claims rose by 60%. And that was about the time that we started talking about making mental health important. And obviously, COVID happened,
yeah, yeah,
which all forced us to put the emergency brake on our lives and um, take a real hard look at like what was going on. And so, I think because of that stat, some people could look at that as being like, oh my gosh, like your people are utilizing your health insurance and like that's such a negative that 60%, it rose by 60%. And in my mind, I'm like, that is like a hallelujah moment. Like our people
yes,
are like, I can go to get therapy, I can go get help when I need it, I can maintain it. I don't have to like feel shamed about this. So, and it's continued to rise by 10 to 15% every year since then. And I'm just like,
that's a
everybody should
win.
see a therapist. If you're not seeing an
Yes,
unbiased person to talk
yes.
about your life, then you're missing out on some game-changing, just life events that could, truly could change your life. So, yeah.
Absolutely. A focus on mental health is key and just breaking that barrier to care, right? And making it
Mhm.
okay and normalizing it is really important. But you're right in that it kind of comes from the top down. The leadership has to embrace this, idea as well. So um okay, one last question. What are some like maybe emerging trends or innovations on corporate wellness that you're seeing and that you think employers could incorporate into their programs?
Yeah. Um, well, I would, as girl power, as I think we both are, obviously, I'd love for America
Yes,
to continue to focus on women's health. Um,
absolutely.
and maternity care. That would be my top one.
Mhm.
And this isn't necessarily, we are always evaluating these types of things at Garver and seeing how we can improve like our maternity slash paternity care because
Mhm.
we give both to our employees. But it's we're people are starting to talk a lot about elder care. And then when we talk about women's health, it's not just like prenatal care, it's menopausal care, and it's
Absolutely.
talking to individuals like myself who don't have kids, and maybe you're starting to think about a family and just family planning in general and what all of that looks like. So that is a huge always kind of brainchild that's stirring in my head
Mhm.
is like, how can we
Love that.
influence this? And, maybe it's not so much that we are giving more time to people because I know that time is very valuable. And everyone has different opinions about how long moms should be with
Mhm.
babies once they're born. So
Mhm.
we won't go down that rabbit hole. But I do think that you can, support moms with potentially like a mentorship program as they return to work, especially for a first time mom. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine what that's like.
Don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. You know, how not only are you like leaving this tiny human in the care of someone else, if you have to return back to work, but then your body and your hormones are also going through changes. So being able to have a mentorship program with another mom is a great opportunity to showcase that you care, but then also not spend a lot of money in that regard. So, you know, or in giving like a daycare stipend, like, you know, if you do have the cash flow to be able to do that, like daycare, I hear is very expensive. I don't.
Holy moly. I'm about to get my statement here for the end of the year, and it's just a gut punch. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
but it's so important, right? You
it's
want
so
the people
important.
taking
Yeah.
care of your kids. Yeah.
So, and then, you know, but ultimately, so I would say women's health, maternity care, elder care, just like as we are all are like progressing through life, I think the most important thing as far as emerging trends and innovations, like it's you can hear all of the cool things that are going on, lifestyle spending accounts, health reimbursements, like wellness rewards at the end of the year, but like what does your culture want? Like what are they interested in? You know, so taking a survey, like if you have a group of individuals who like this is a bad example, but don't have any kids, like
Mhm.
then
What do they
why
want?
what do they want? Like, cause
Yeah.
like paternal care is probably not on the forefront of their mind. Like, you
Yes.
know, so but that doesn't mean that you won't hire someone like that. So just being open to that as well. But yeah, I just what are the things that your company cares about, the culture that you're driving, and how to create a wellness program that can be specifically tailored to them. I think that is the key piece of emerging trends, like picking those pieces out and then knowing your people.
That's yes. Similar to an employee benefits program and health insurance, there's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
And so same for the wellness program. Yeah, I think getting feedback from your employees, you get that engagement, you get that buy-in, and then really crafting and tailoring a program specific to them, I think is important. So I love that.
Mhm.
I love surveys. I would do surveys all the time.
Yes.
Um, well, this has been awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I think that you've given so many just practical tips and advice for people. So I really hope that, as we head into 2025, more employers can start to embrace wellness, right?
Yeah.
Because health insurance does a really great job of taking care of us when we're sick, but it doesn't do a great job preventing those sicknesses and being proactive. And so I think that really starts with the employer and with the culture.
Mhm.
So just props to Garver for investing in this because it's incredible. And it's so cool that you're doing it and that I know you.
Thank you.
It's just awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. And okay, I have just one more question just for
Yeah.
fun.
Okay.
Okay, if you're on death row, Whitney, what is your last meal?
Oh man, I love questions like this.
I love it too.
I love questions like this. Okay, it's gotta be like a fillet, and it's
Oh,
gotta be then mashed potatoes. But okay, I'm also gonna have an appetizer, and is it? I'm totally blanking. Murray's? Is it
oh, the
Murray's?
green pepper rings?
The powdered sugar green peppers from Colombia. Yes, absolutely. Like that's totally that they're gonna have to be shipped
Gosh.
to Arkansas. Yes, I'm here for that. So
And
filet mashed
dessert?
potatoes.
Or are you filling up
Uh,
on that?
Probably just like a warm chocolate chip cookie. Like
Can't go
just I'm
wrong.
real basic with it, but man, I can go to town on some chocolate chip cookies. What's your dinner? What's your meal?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, I love some fried chicken. Like I'm just like
Mm,
a beige meal, right? Fried chicken, probably like fries. I just love fries. I could go to town on those. And then mint chocolate chip ice cream. I would
okay,
probably save all my calories there. Like just give me a giant bowl and I'm good.
nice. Yes, I
So
love it.
yes, all the sugar. So
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Whitney.
you.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.